Hey, I'm Ton Vin, and this is Seattle Eats, a food podcast from the Seattle Times and KUOW. This week, the restaurant industry watched its version of the Oscars, the Jane Spirit Awards. 24 restaurants and chefs earn this prestigious honor every year. For the 5th year in a row, Seattle got zero, nada, zilch. But we did have 3 local finalists. Today, I'm digging into these restaurants with my colleague Jackie Varriano. We'll talk about why Seattle never seems to make the cut. Let's roll out the red carpet. Seattle eaters, we have much to discuss, and I need help to break it all down. So I had to lay up the bat signal. And rappelling down into the studio is Jackie Varriano. She's a food writer at the Seattle Times, and she spent Monday evening watching Seattle lose at the Jane Spirit Award again. Hey, Jackie, welcome to the show.
I forgot my cape. Sorry. Am I still invited?
I guess.
Okay, good.
So, like I said, the Jane Spirit are like the Oscars of the food world. For the people who don't follow these as closely as we do, can you explain why that is?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's funny because the Oscars is at its core a trade show, and that's what the James Spirit Awards are. I mean, it's your peers that are recognizing you for this honor. The judges are people that are very knowledgeable in the food world. You know, it's just a specific food thing, just like the Oscars is just about movies.
Yeah. And I think the other benefit, Jackie, that the Jane Spirit Award has that others don't is they've been around for like ever. Right? So all these newcomers, like sponsored by Bitcoin, whatever, they just don't have the same traction. Because there are a lot of people who are trying to be like the next Jane Spirit Award. And Jane Spirit is still it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the pinnacle of the awards, I think, for restaurants and for people behind the restaurants because they have a whole media arm, too. So for cookbooks and podcasts, articles, maybe one day you could win a James Spirit Award, Tom.
Oh, or you.
True. Or me.
Well, let's get to the local nominees this year. We had 3, and these are all fine dining restaurants. So the price point is going to be a little high. Okay, pretty high, even for Seattle. First up, Atoma in Wallingford, and was a finalist for the Best New Restaurant Award. And to be fair, Jackie, it was a dark horse to win, so it was no surprise it didn't win. But I think more than any other category, this is where when you're a finalist, you really win. The algorithm of your engine search just change. Like when tourists or visitors look for best restaurants in Seattle, you just pop up really high up.
I think it like immediately raises your profile nationally because you're going up not just against maybe your regional peers, but you're going against restaurants in New York, Chicago, LA, like our biggest eating cities. Yeah. I think it's huge.
Yes. So though they didn't win, I think they won just being a finalist.
Yeah, just being a finalist.
Oh, gosh. And Jack, have you eaten there?
I unfortunately have not eaten there. It's on my list. But, you know, in our line of work, there is never a shortage of restaurants that we go to. So going not for work is sometimes difficult to squeeze it in.
Right. I recall eating there the first week they opened. I believe it was their soft opening. And it's really hard to judge that early, but you get some sense, you know, it was New American, a lot of shared plates. Really good mocktails and non-alcoholic drinks, by the way. Nicely set up, but again, it's been a while. This was, again, soft opening phase, so I don't want to say too much, but certainly they're more like that. They run a tighter ship, a much more focused menu these days than what it was before.
Yeah.
Next up, Archipelago. It's a Filipino restaurant in Hillman City in Seattle. And it was a finalist for the Outstanding Hospitality Award. Jackie, you're one of the few people in this city that got in to eat there. So what was it like?
You know, usually you go to a restaurant for your reservation and you're used to just walking in and talking to the host. And maybe if you're a little early, you can grab a seat at the bar. But the door to Archipelago is locked until like the exact minute of your reservation time. So you're just out on the sidewalk with, I mean, it's also a very small place. I think there's max 11 seats. So you're out on the sidewalk with like 8 to 10 other strangers, just looking at each other, being like, we're all together. Okay, we're doing the same thing. And then they let you in and they welcome you. The whole experience from start to finish, I think, is very singular in Seattle because it tells a story. They're educating you not only through the dishes, but everything is from like the playlist to the actual plates are all chosen for a purpose. And they usually have a Filipino-American tie to them as well.
And isn't this true, Jackie? Like when they present a dish, they tell the backstory?
Yes, they tell a backstory of like with a photo. Every single person on staff takes a course. So everyone is telling a story. And I think I was there, maybe they had run the current menu they were on for at least a couple weeks. So everybody was able to deviate from that original script and put their own spin on the story and really hone into what was their favorite part of it. It was really cool. It was a great night. I took my husband for his birthday, and I don't think I can top that next year unless we go back.
So, Jackie, it's really hard to get a seat out there or a table for two.
Yeah.
How many times do you have to try before you landed? You scored.
Oh, well, I just looked really far in advance. And also, I tried to go by myself, and I couldn't get a single diner reservation. So I was like, oh, I'm looking a month in advance. Perfect. His birthday's at the end of February. Looks like we're going together.
He'll never know.
He'll never know.
There you go.
Don't anyone tell him.
And our last finalist, Jay Blackington. He's a chef at Houlme on Orcas Island. And he was a finalist for the best chef in the Northwest and Pacific region. Jackie, what's Jay's background?
He is an Orcas Island guy. Born and raised. I think he was a farmer for a little while.
He was.
He was a vegan for a bit. I interviewed him when I used to be the Zagat editor. He was on my 30 under 30 list, which makes me feel old because he's definitely not under 30 anymore, right? And he is just really focused on seasonality and small plates and where all of that intersects between the island and what it can offer. And I haven't eaten there since it was Hogstone, though. Have you been there since it's been home?
I have not. But Jackie, I would say that we both eaten at home.
Yeah.
And let me explain, because it's been through so many acts. He was farm to table. He was fancy fine dining and casual dining under the same roof. He was a pizzeria, which is the last time I was there during the pandemic. So he's now back to the home DNA, which is farm to table and fresh veggie. And I would say it's hard to talk about his menu because it's seasonality. It's about the season. So a dish that I liked, I tell you about, it probably wouldn't pop up again. But I think the genius of his menu is you can tell what season it is by eating his food. It is all, food grown around Orcas Island or around San Juan Island, and maybe Skagit Valley is truly farm to table.
Yeah.
And that is the genius of his menu. The flavor is clean, it's sharp, it's very pronounced, and I can eat something that's like, it's spring, it's asparagus, or a summer, or a fall. So those were 3 finalists for this year's James Beard Award. Unfortunately, for the 5th year in a go, we got 0 wins.
I know. The shutout continues. We're like the Red Sox before they won. Who's our Bucky Dent?
I love that analogy. Wow. I didn't know you were a baseball fan. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, do you have a theory? Why does Seattle struggle to make the cut?
I just feel like this is going to be a difficult discussion because I honestly think it comes down to money. I think our city is too expensive. It does not allow chefs to really take risks because they are so worried about the bottom line. Rent is high. Labor costs are high. Food costs are so high. And you look at a city like Portland, or I don't know anything about Alaska, but they're also in our judging group. Or you look at some places in the Midwest, perhaps, where some of those costs are a little bit less, or like New York City. I'm sorry, but that's just an amazing city. So I don't think we'll ever win head-to-head against New York. Seattle's just not that big of a market. But if we had people that felt they could take more risks, I think we would do better at the Beards.
Yeah. In talking in years past, because we've done these James Beard Awards so many times, and we've talked to a lot of chefs, and that is, I would say, the number one theory I have heard over and over the last 3 years, and that is we have some liabilities that other cities like Portland don't have.
Yeah. And
everyone needs to take a deep breath, and I'm just saying this is from a chef perspective.
Totally.
What they're saying is, one, we have one of the highest minimum wage in the country. Our tip is like 22 to 25%. And also you have the perfect storm of like food inflation and so forth. So while every other city might have the same food inflation issues, they don't have the same high minimum wage and other labor issues. And that's from the chef perspective. So they said it's harder for them to, like you said, take risks or try something new, and hence 115 more smash burger places.
I know.
Or pizza parlor, because what's pizza? Flour and water. It's cheap. And you have more fast casuals, and fast casuals don't win James Beard Award. But these are the things that people always mention as chefs.
Yeah, or we think about our nominees that we did have, right? So you think about Jay at home and the emphasis he is giving on that produce, because we do live in an incredible place where we have so much access. We also really want to pay our farmers well. So like our food costs also feel very high. Or Archipelago, I mean, it's like $300 plus a person. That's not an everyday restaurant, which is fine. We need all different kinds of restaurants. We need the Euro places and the pizza places. But if we want to be taken more seriously, I think on a national level, we also need chefs that are taking a lot of risks. And our city feels too expensive to do that on a regular basis at this moment.
Oh, man. All the chefs who are listening, I guarantee you they're clapping now and saying, here, here. You tell them, Jackie.
My inbox is going to be such a mess later.
Jackie, thanks for the chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me, as always.
That's it for today. We have a list of all the restaurants we talked about in the description of this episode. Thanks for listening to Seattle Eats. The show is a production of the Seattle Times and KUOW, part of the NPR network. You can support Seattle Eats by investing in the local newsroom and the specialized beats that make this sort of storytelling possible. Please consider joining and subscribing at kuow.org/eats and seattletimes.com. Seattle Eats is produced by Claire McGrain and edited by Jim Gates and Trevor Lensmeyer. I'm Ton Vin. See you next week.